I'm not going to change my personality. Ain't nobody, they can't fire me. I make too much money to get fired. So they can't fire me.
I can tell you, I also spoke as co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously.
Charles Barkley's flipping the script at ESPN, and Shannon Sharpe's not here for it. Chuck just locked down a massive $210 million deal, and now he's out here playing by his own rules. He's refusing extra shows, turning down appearances, and basically daring ESPN to fire him if they've got the guts. Meanwhile, Shannon's been left in the cold after getting dropped by the same network over a scandal that's still dragging him through legal mess and morality clause drama. Word is, he's stuck under a microscope with his every move watched by higher-ups. And yet, Charles, he's walking around like a king, unbothered and unstoppable. No shocker, Shannon's heated. He's been throwing shade at ESPN for giving Chuck a pass while he got the boot. The double standards got him fuming, and he's not holding back. But Barkley's not staying quiet either. He's firing right back, basically telling Shannon to look in the mirror and remember exactly why their situations ain't the same. Behind the scenes, it's getting spicy. So why does Charles get treated like royalty while Shannon gets tossed aside? It might all come down to Barkley's wild confidence. Just recently, he appeared on Outkick with Dan Dakich and straight up told ESPN he's not going to talk about the Lakers no matter how much they're paying him. He made it crystal clear. He's going to say whatever he wants, and they can either roll with it or walk away.
2 different radio national shows, and I said, I don't want to talk about LeBron James every freaking day or Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers or all the bullshit you got to talk about. I don't want to do that every day. Now you're going to ESPN, and you've been critical of ESPN, particularly their coverage of the Lakers. What are your thoughts as this is your last season heading over?
Yeah, Dan, I'm not going to change. I'm going to do what I want to do. Nobody's going to tell me what to say or what to do. I thought I get upset. They're like the Lakers are contenders. I'm like, no, they're not. They're not contenders. Kendrick Perkins, who don't know his ass from a hole in the wall. He's like, the Lakers are contenders. Lakers are contenders, and I said, they're not contenders.
Most folks in Chuck's spot would be scrambling to please the higher-ups just to keep their seat warm, but not Charles Barkley. He's built different. He's not sweating a pink slip, and honestly, ESPN can't even afford to let him go. If anyone's winning in this wild standoff, it's definitely Chuck, and he knows it like the back of his hand. He didn't hold back saying straight up, ain't nobody, they can't fire me. I make too much money to get fired, so they can't fire me. First of all, if they fire me, they gotta pay me for 7 years, and I'm gonna quit way before then. But if they wanna fire me, I would love for them to do that. The only decision we've been making is how long I'm going to work. That's a bold flex, and he wasn't done. Barkley laid it out plain. I'm not worried about getting fired, and nobody at ESPN is going to tell me what to say or do, period. Why is he so confident? Simple. Back in 2022, Charles inked a monster 10-year, $210 million deal to be the face of the most-watched pregame and postgame basketball show out there.
Charles Barkley has reportedly agreed to a 10-year deal with TNT that's estimated to be worth over $100 million. Let's be honest, Barkley is arguably one of the most popular sports studio analysts out there, and he's in a landscape where salaries for sportscasters have just changed dramatically over the years. And if TNT were to let him go, it'd just be terrible.
Firing Charles Barkley? That's not even on the table for ESPN. Because if they pull that move, they're stuck shelling out a massive $210 million. And to make it even trickier, Chuck's not some workaholic trying to grind until he's gray. No, he's already got one foot out the door. Unlike guys like Stephen A. Smith or even Shannon Sharpe, who are clearly hungry to keep their careers rolling, Chuck's not chasing another contract. Stephen and Shannon, they're out here playing it safe, trying not to ruffle feathers. If they want that next paycheck, they know they can't afford to tick off the bosses. But Charles, he's living in a whole different world. Earlier this year on NBA TV, he had jaws dropping when he declared, I ain't going nowhere other than TNT.
For me personally, I wanted you guys to hear from me because I'm not doing any more interviews. Don't y'all be calling me. Nobody calling me. I'm not talking about this again, but I wanted to tell my NBA and NBA TV and TNT family that I'm not going to another network, but I'm going to pass the baton to either Jamal Crawford or Vince Carter or you, Steve. But next year, I'm going to just retire after 25 years, and I just want to say thank you.
But I have made the decision myself that no matter what happens, next year is going to be my last year on television. And he's not bluffing to score bigger deals either. Chuck straight up said he's already had convos with other networks, and he's not signing anything. Chuck's got nothing to lose in this whole mess, and he knows it. When he sat down with Outkick again recently, his attitude hadn't changed one bit. He's still calling the shots, and ESPN's just trying to keep up. He revealed that, yeah, he's had some talks with the network about how long he's planning to stick around. Technically, he's still locked into 7 more years on that monster contract.
The only decision we've been making is how long I'm on work. And I've been going back and forth with TNT for the last 2 months, whether I'm gonna work 2 years or 3 years. But if I really wanted to, I could stay for 7 years, which there's no chance of that happening. Zero.
But don't count on him riding it out. Barkley made it crystal clear. He's not finishing that deal. No way. And here's where it gets even messier. If ESPN decides to fire him before that contract runs out, they'll still have to cut him a check for the full amount. That's right. They'd be out over $200 million just to get rid of him. That's a serious financial headache waiting to happen. To make matters worse for the network, Chuck's already setting boundaries. He said he's not interested in hopping on shows like Get Up, First Take, Sports Center, or any other ESPN content once he transitions over. And honestly, that kind of move would have made total sense for ESPN. Since TNT Sports lost NBA rights, ESPN's now licensing inside the NBA next season, which puts Chuck officially in their camp. But like we said, Chuck wants no part of it, and he's made that loud and clear. He's not itching to be overworked, and he's definitely not hyped about sharing the camera with Stephen A. Smith or Kendrick Perkins. And let's be real, he didn't bite his tongue either. Charles flat out said Perkins can't tell the difference between a hole in the wall and his own booty hole. Yeah, he went there. So the odds of these two ever co-hosting anything, practically zero. Chuck's not playing by the rules, and somehow he's still untouchable. Meanwhile, for ESPN, he's turning into a full-on wild card. He's rewriting the playbook, flipping off expectations, and the craziest part, they're letting it happen. Now, guess who's not loving any of this? Shannon Sharpe. He's still salty, real salty, about how this same network cut him loose the moment trouble came knocking. No second chances, no protection, just drop. Word on the street, Shannon's even had some words behind the scenes for Chuck, but before he tries to turn up and go full drama, he might want to pause and face reality. He and Charles Barkley are not playing the same game. Chuck's a TV heavyweight. Shannon, not quite in that lane yet. According to the New York Times, ESPN's tossing Shannon a solid $6.5 million a year to debate with Stephen A. Smith just 2 days a week on First Take. That's some nice cash, but let's not get it twisted. He's not big enough for the network to back him through a messy civil case involving a young woman barely old enough to drink legally. And this isn't just about fame, it's about business. Disney, the parent company, plays it smart. They don't roll the dice unless they're sure it's worth it. Disney always keeps a tight grip when it comes to its image. And that's exactly why they build a strict morality clause into every contract. This clause lets them cut ties or take action if someone's behavior risks damaging the company's reputation, even if it's just public embarrassment or drama that might stir up scandal. And they don't play around with it either. The language is intentionally vague, giving execs the power to move quickly when someone slips up. Now, in Shannon Sharpe's case, let's be real, it wasn't some random decision. They didn't just wake up one day and fire him. The man's 56 and found himself tangled up in headlines involving a 19-year-old. That's not a good look for anyone, especially not under Disney's brand. And considering how long he's been in the game, you'd expect way better judgment. Folks online were already side-eyeing him after last year's viral moment, when people literally got a peek into his bedroom thanks to that wild Instagram blunder. Let's be honest, Disney doesn't usually fumble the bag when it comes to protecting their image. So when trouble hit, they move fast. And it looks like they shut the door on Shannon Sharpe for good. One insider even claimed he might already be banned from the network entirely. Another source wasn't holding back either, saying the word inside ESPN is that Shannon's career there could be finished. Done. Just like that. But wait, there's a twist. I tapped in with someone close to ESPN's production team, and according to them, Shannon's still doing First Take on Mondays and Tuesdays. So those missing days during the rest of the week, just part of his usual schedule, not some secret suspension. Still, this isn't some harmless rumor mill spinning out of control. Even Stephen A. Smith got involved. He admitted straight up that he had a serious conversation with Disney's CEO, who, by the way, was watching Shannon's situation very closely. Now, Shannon might be mad at the network, but let's not pretend like he was winning any popularity contest behind the scenes. According to one source, things were already messy, way before the current scandal. He was actually accused of choking a female production assistant while working at Fox Sports, before that $50 million legal nightmare even hit. The alleged incident went down sometime between 2016 and 2023, during his run on the Undisputed talk show. What's shocking is, he wasn't even fired over it. Instead, Shannon and Fox reportedly settled with the woman for several $100,000. Quiet, off the radar, no major headlines. Of course, Shannon's rep came forward trying to shut the whole thing down, insisting there was no incident of choking involving Shannon on the S1 set. They claimed that on one occasion, there was some light physical interaction between Shannon and a few co-workers, but it was all in a playful context. Fox Sports, they decided to handle it privately. No public statements, no courtroom drama, just kept it moving behind closed doors. The rep even added that for more details, folks should reach out to Fox directly. What really had folks scratching their heads was how Fox didn't drop Shannon on the spot after that situation. But hey, that's showbiz. And honestly, Disney and ESPN could have made the same call and kept him on board, even with the legal heat around him. But let's be real, that move would have blown up fast. The backlash would have been brutal. Former SportsCenter anchor Sage Steele didn't hold back when she spoke out about how the platform was handling everything right before Shannon stepped away. She jumped on X and vented her frustrations about what she sees as a totally broken system. She posted, "There's a long list of examples where ESPN or Disney considers having conservative viewpoints a much greater offense than questionable character." In response to a tweet that read, "ESPN did not re-up contracts to women with conservative views or silence them, while Shannon has had multiple questionable actions involving women, just putting that out there." Former ESPN employee Ashley Brewer-Kaminsky chimed in too, dropping her own experience with the network's policies. She wrote, "Never forget when I got chewed out by my boss for posting a pic of a Republican congressman and UFC fighter on my Instagram story at the McGregor fight. LOL, FYI, the network has a strict policy about discussing politics on air." Let that sink in. Sage Steele was suspended just for speaking out against the company's COVID vaccine mandate. Meanwhile, Shannon's actions had much more weight behind them, and yet he stayed on the roster, at least for a while. At the end of the day, cutting Shannon loose was the smartest move Disney and ESPN could have made. Barkley might be stirring the pot with his rebellion and retirement talk, but let's not get it twisted. He's not bringing scandals to the doorstep. Compared to Shannon, Chuck's practically squeaky clean. Shannon, he's become too risky, too controversial, and in this business, that makes you disposable. Barkley, on the other hand, is the kind of star you don't toss aside. That's why even Stephen A. Smith, Shannon's loudest supporter, wasn't shocked when the plug got pulled. Stephen A. said it himself. When the news came down that he and ESPN had mutually agreed that he would need to come off the airwaves of ESPN, it was a blow to the show, a blow to me personally, because I'm going to miss him. But it was not a surprise. And he would know he's been with Disney since 2003. He understands the game, and he knows how ESPN moves when their brand is on the line. This wasn't about loyalty or friendship. It was about image, business, and who's worth protecting. So yeah, Barkley's out here bending rules, saying what he wants, and living untouched. Shannon, he's watching it all unfold from the sidelines, and whether he likes it or not, he played himself. Before he blows up or starts pointing fingers, he needs to sit down and ask himself, was it really unfair or just unavoidable? Now we want to hear from you. Is Shannon right to be mad? Should he aim his anger at the network or at Charles? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next wild story.